And we're live. Hi, everybody. It is the Real Time Wisdom Show with Joanna and Lainey. And I am flying solo tonight as my partner in produce flies home from New Mexico. And she was visiting family and doing some food healing Oracle deck business, meeting some vendors. And I know she's going to have lots of announcements when she gets back of all kinds of exciting new stuff. But before we begin with a very, very special guest that I'm really excited about, I just want to begin with an announcement for tonight. There is our Major Arcana Tarot class meets the Food Healing Oracle deck on Sunday at 1 o'clock, October 25th. And for tonight only, if you sign up for this class before midnight or by midnight, you will be put in a drawing for a free deck with a chakra tote. You guys know the chakra totes. They come in the chakra colors. This is the crown chakra. And you'll be put into a drawing for that. So go over to our website or our Facebook page and sign up for that, foodhealingdeck.com. Okay, that's before midnight. So tonight, I'm so very, very happy, excited to introduce to you a good friend of mine and someone that is very well known in the community for her beauty, her integrity, her the classes that she offers, everything. And it's Laurie Barraco at the Mystical Moon. She owns the Mystical Moon in Fort Myers and Bonita, and has been a reader, intuitive, healer, for spiritual guide for over 20 years now. And she is also an author, a recording artist, creator of the Working Girls Magic Oracle deck. And I am so excited to introduce my friend Laurie. Come on down. The price is right. Come on down, Laurie.
What a wonderful introduction. Thank you. I'm going to put in a little bit. I am so honored to be here. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy that you're here. And I bet I forgot a few things. So introduce yourself to people as if they don't know you. And you know what I want to say is, if you don't know Laurie, you're in for a treat. And if you do know Laurie, you're in for a treat. So you're in for a treat either way.
Oh, thank you, Joanna. So I am Laurie Barraco. I am the founder of the Mystical Moon, which we have two storefronts in Southwest Florida, Bonita Springs and Fort Myers. I am a spiritual advisor, so I offer private sessions for clients. As Joanna mentioned, I'm an author. I wrote a book on psychic development. I love teaching psychic development, which is why I'm so excited about tonight. It's one of my passions. And yes, I've created some meditation CDs, and it's just so nice to be here. And yes, the Working Girls Magic Oracle deck and some products that we have with that as well.
You have a whole line of products, Laurie. Mm-hmm. I still use your sage clearing spray. I love that. She has the best sprays and candles. And so for those of you who have never visited her store, it's a must do. Although I can't imagine anybody not having to go and visit your store, but I don't know. So I want to say hello to Tony and Karen and Denise and Patricia and Lucille. Thanks to all of you for joining us tonight, because we have one heck of a show. Because Laurie, as she says, is passionate about psychic development and spiritual, all things spiritual. You know, I mean, you've been doing this work for so long, Laurie. And I used to say to her, because I used to work at her store. In fact, we'll talk a little bit about our history. But I used to say to her, I never met anybody that worked as hard as you did. It took a lot to put those two stores together. And I met you back in, well, you reminded me, it was about 2007. I was a minister at the Church of Spiritual Light, and Renee Bledsoe brought me into your store that was kind of new in Island Park. And I can't believe we've known each other for that long. Subsequently, unbeknownst to me, the first day I met her, be, I would come to work there. I rented a space from Laurie to do my healing practice. I started my reading career there at the Mystical Moon. And yeah, tell me about all of that time. We just became very, very much friends.
Mm-hmm.
I had met my soul sister when I met you.
Absolutely. And I remember the first time I met you, you came in looking for a Shiva Lingam. You came shopping at the store looking for a Shiva Lingam.
That's right. And I still have that Shiva Lingam.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about a 10-pound Shiva Lingam. And I just, it kind of started me off on collecting stones and crystals and all of that stuff that I had not done that before then. So it started me on my journey. And I remember that store fondly because I spent a lot of time at that store, and then you moved, and your new location is bigger and better, and the one in Bonita. And I got to be front desk girl at one point, and I held a lot of positions there at your store, and it was always so much fun. And there's nothing like the vibration and frequency that you hold the container for in both those stores, Laurie. I've always admired the way that you take care of issues when they come up. And, you're very proactive in helping your readers and the healers that work for you, in helping them get clientele. And you're always so generous with the way that you have treated the healers and readers there, and that's why they're so loyal to you.
Oh, I really appreciate that, Joanna. And now I'm thinking about it. Joanna has worn just about every hat there is to wear at the Mystical Moon. She's been front desk helper. She's been reader, healer, facilitator, teaching. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, a little bit. We used to host a weekly internet show on a name platform, NING. We used to do that weekly.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And remember our Diksha blessing? We did that for years. Laurie would play the bowls and I would give the Diksha, and it was we had a beautiful community for many, many years. Giving Diksha, initiated many people to be a Diksha giver, and my Sacred Soul Sundays in Bonita. I was thinking about that the other day. So yeah, we've just had lots of fun and, joining together. And now with the Food Healing Oracle deck, we are in your store with a product.
That's right. And what's really cool is as we're recalling all of these memories, it does segue into the topic as well of spiritual development, and it's a journey, right? And look, and who would have thought way back in 2007 that you would have this amazing product, this deck that is changing lives. All of the programs and everything that's coming together, and all the people that you're meeting through that, right?
Yeah.
So interesting how it navigates.
Yeah. How long have you been teaching psychic development now?
For about 20 years.
Wow. So for as long as you've had the stores?
Before the stores.
Oh, wow.
Psychic development as well as at another center.
Yeah. Amazing. So let's talk about how what is a couple things you think that is necessary in order for someone to bring in that intuition, What part of, since you've been teaching it for so long, we have the certification classes now for the Food Healing Oracle deck, and we do the psychic activation. Day 2 is all about becoming, stepping into mastery as a reader. But, you've been doing that for so long, and I'm sure, everybody listening would love to hear some of your top tips for becoming more active as a reader, or just even, Laurie, having your own intuitive powers that help you in your daily life, right?
Absolutely. And I believe that every person should look into their own intuitive gifts, because we all have that inner GPS that we came to this earth with. And the more that you delve into your inner self, the more you're going to know who you are, the more that you're going to know what's healthy for you, what isn't healthy for you. You'll be able to make life decisions more confidently. And the only way really to do that is to go within. And there are different ways to get there. So there's meditation. I highly, highly suggest people learn how to meditate. And meditation is not just sitting there quietly and oming, right? There's mantra, there's the sound meditation, crystal bowls, there's the guided meditation, there's active meditation. So meditation is one of the best things that you can do to develop your psychic gifts. Then there's journaling, writing down your thoughts, observing when you are receiving information and how it comes through, right?
That's really interesting to me, because sometimes we get these hits, right? So and so is going to call, or oh my God, like I've had the thing where I start to get into my car and I feel like this isn't the time for me to be driving. And sometimes, when I get that hit, but I don't think I've written down or kept track through the years of the different instances where I've had this aha moment, that instant knowing that then really changed things for me, shifted me from one thing to another. So talk about, journaling, the psychic, you called it the psychic hit notebook.
Yeah, the psychic hit list. So you write down the instances where you had something come to you, whether a thought, a feeling, hearing something, and where it came true. And what that does is it builds your confidence. And the more that you're able to go back and refer to it, then you start trusting more of what's coming through. And I'll give a quick example. Because it just came to me, I was going to take a weekend psychic development class. And yes, I still take psychic development classes, and we'll probably touch upon that. But you can never stop learning about this. There's always more in depth that you can go more deeper within yourself. So I was supposed to go take a weekend class in Tampa, and it kept stalling in the morning. Kept feeling, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. I actually called my friend Crystal Childs, and I said, "Can you pull a quick card for me?" And she's like, "I get kind of like maybe you should wait." And just as I made it over the that bridge, that Fort Myers bridge, my car died.
Oh, wow.
So thank God I stalled, and because would have been far away without any help, stranded on the side of the road. So that was a huge psychic hit that I wrote down, and I paid attention to how it came through, and it helped me fine tune how that information comes through for me.
Yeah, that's so good to pay attention to, Laurie. I want to, just address the people here listening. If you have any questions for me or Laurie with her psychic development tips, or you've had a situation where you have known something before it happens, please write it down, put it in the comments so that we know what your experience has been. And any question is allowed for both of us. But, Laurie, you and I, when we did our show on Ning, we talked about a variety of subjects, and I remember, us having this show one day where we were talking about how to find a good psychic. Like, how do you know that you're with someone that is ethical, that's going to tell you what you need to hear, not necessarily what you want to hear, but what you need to hear? How do you, what's your list of of finding a good psychic?
Well, I encourage people to seek a referral, right? Ask around, ask your friends who frequent psychics, or ask them if you have similar interests, woo-woo interests. So referral is great. Also checking them out online, asking, inquiring, right? What are your prices and so on and so forth. And if you can, try to check out the area that they're in, right? So if they have an office or if they work out of a shop, sometimes you could go in and get a feel for it, right? Ask about cancellation policy. What if, do you have a 24-hour cancellation policy? Another tip is, say if you're with a reader and they're not making a connection. This is a big one, and people still don't realize this. They always say, I didn't realize that. If you're in a reading and the reader is really off, within 5 minutes, that reader does know. As the client who's paying, you have the right to say, I don't think we're making a connection. I'd like to stop the reading right now. And my opinion, an ethical reader will say, yeah, I was kind of feeling that, or we can reschedule, and you shouldn't be charged for it. I mean, there are, extreme situations, but if someone's really not hitting the mark, and we've all been there. I've been there myself as a client, where you knew the reader wasn't hitting it, and it's very uncomfortable, right?
I think that's a really, really important point, because, oftentimes we're afraid to say something. So we just kind of go along. But you're right. We all have an off day. And sometimes, I have to say, Laurie and I were talking about Dorian. And those of you who studied our deck and have our deck know that Dorian is mystery. Sometimes, and so Dorian has come up for her. She was in her astral lounge, the other day doing some readings, and she used the Food Healing Oracle deck in her readings, and Dorian came up, and it was like, she wasn't familiar with that card, but she read it for somebody. And then the other day she said she saw somebody on her Instagram post, a friend of hers, that posted about Dorian. So sometimes it's a mystery as to what the information coming in is and whether it needs to be spoken about at that time, right? So we have to be mindful of all of those different vibrations and energies that are, coming into play during a reading. Everything can be read. Everything, not just the cards, tarot or oracle or whatever the tool is to read, but also the energy can read. I know as a reader, sitting at the Mystical Moon, having people come in that I've never met before, come in for a reading, I could tell as soon as they would walk in if it was going to be, a chaotic reading, just because of the energy, right? And there were times where it was very, very difficult to get around that chaotic energy. So if someone is chaotic in their own personal life, do you think that's a good time to go get a reading?
That's a really good question, because it can help you, but then it can confuse you at the same time. And that's such a good question. And that's also where the personal psychic development or the spiritual development can help you too, right? Knowing yourself, weighing the pros and cons. If you're looking for guidance, is this a good time to get guidance? Am I really confused, or am I being codependent and not doing my own inner work with that, right? So you could use your pendulum is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, right?
Should I go for a reading?
I have my pendulum right here somewhere, right. So Karen says, I've had readers tell me they can't read me at all because I'm too strong. What would you do in that case? What do you mean by too strong? I don't know what Karen's referring to by too strong.
Maybe she can clarify a little bit. And
Karen, maybe you can clarify. What do you mean by too strong? And Kathy says, who is my sister-in-law, by the way, I'm afraid to go to one in fear I won't get the truth. Well, that's why it's important to develop a relationship with your psychic. I mean, because then I mean, You might go to one and it doesn't resonate, and then a week later, everything they said came true.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So, but developing a relationship in terms of your own loyalty. I know for me, I've had clients that have come to me for readings for years, and I'm able to, evolve with them. I see their evolution, I see their spiritual growth, I see the changes that they've made because of the readings, because a reading is more than, it's not, we're not fortune tellers. I always tell my clients, I'm not a fortune teller. What I am is a spiritual guide to help you figure out what the energies are for you at that particular time and what you need in order to shift out of a certain relationship, perhaps, or a job. Maybe there's something going on that you just need some insight from another person to tap into those energies and tell you what's going on, so Karen says my psychic abilities are too strong. Interesting. Well, yeah, maybe you need to try other psychics, because I like when somebody else has a very strong intuition about their own life as well. So
I have something that's kind of coming through with that, Karen. I don't know how well you know those readers, but are they reading in their psychic channel, or are they reading you empathically? Because when you're in that psychic channel with your higher self, you're connecting here. And if a reader is reading more empathically off your energy, like this way rather than this way, that can be overwhelming, and it could be a little bit confusing. Because if you're a strong projector of energy too, and they're not working within their psychic channel, that can be a bit much.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I love it when someone is confident in themselves and their abilities. So
Yeah, right. Exactly. Because they, we talked about personal development, not just spirit, not just psychic development, and not just spiritual development, but there's a personal development piece that goes into, um, you know, we all have those intuitive gifts, but we need to, you mentioned something at the beginning, that you're still going to classes, that you still have mentors. I know that you do, as I do, because we're students, we're teachers, but we're always students, and we're always learning. There's always something that we can continue to do to develop our own gifts, but not just develop our gifts in reading, but also to become fully actualized, right? And we have to work at that. We work at that with our prayer life, our spiritual life. We play with there's always cards or a book that I'm reading for inspiration or for guidance. I have a spiritual director that I speak to once a month. It's like it's important to always make sure that you're doing your own self-development, because you cannot activate your psychic powers, so to speak, if you're all chaotic and you don't know who you are, right? You have to know who you are, and where you're going, right? What your intention is for your life.
I agree. And it's going to change. There's the flavor of the year. At one time, Joanna and I were studying Kabbalah.
Yes.
And we loved it, right?
We
We had
loved
the
it.
same mentor, and we would take classes, and there was a lot of shifting and growing, and then it changed, it shifted, because our mentor wasn't mentoring at that time, and we were upset. So that meant was like we were leaving now, right?
Yeah.
And we moved on to something else. But I do believe that was the divine timing of, okay, right now, this is enough for you in this area. And I gained so much from that time period, but it'll always change too, right? There's always more to learn about. And the one tip I would suggest for people is to not try to learn everything at once, because it can be really overwhelming, right? Just take a couple of courses or really delve in depth with one area. You don't need to complicate everything, and you can't learn everything at once. There's also the integration period of that as well. As you're learning about your intuitive self, you're raising your vibration, and some of your human stuff may come up so that you can be a clearer channel for your own divine self.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it does take some time. And I remember when I was taking, Healing Touch for the first time back in, I don't know, 1997 or something. I took my first Healing Touch class, and I found out that there's, 5 levels. Well, I go up to my teacher and I said, how fast can I go through this? I love this class. It was a whole weekend. I learned about energy. We made energy balls. Remember that back in the day. And, and she said, well, you can take them as quickly as you want. She says, but there's something that happens along the way. I said, what's that? She says, life. and she was absolutely right. Life did happen, and I didn't take my next class until a year later, but I worked on and had that development, that spiritual development, that knowing myself more. And then, I continued with those classes, and I would have to say I was a completely different person in the 5 years it took me. And I thought it was going to take me like 5 months, but I was wrong. In the 5 years it took me, I really grew up. I mean, I learned about who I was, right? And it's really important that we have that time to really know ourselves. So, we have a certification class with the Food Healing Oracle deck. And Kathy, I saw that you asked about certification. There's many certifications for all different kinds of cards. We have our Food Healing Oracle deck certification in January of 2021. We just finished this year's classes out. But, even that, and when they leave, they don't get certified in 2 days. There's a development that happens. There's practice that happens. There's things that will go on. And some of them think they're going to get certified in, I'm going to put in my reads and I'm going to get this done right away. And guess what? Life happens. And everything that happens to us is supposed to happen to us in order to give us that depth that we need in order to become a reader. I always say the wounded healer, right? The wounded healer becomes a healer out of their desire to heal themselves.
And there are so many precious memories to refer back to, like the first time you felt your spirit guide, right? It's just that excitement and the validation that and this is another reason for psychic development, that life goes on, that we're more than this life, then we're more than this personality self, right? And then when you start having those awesome experiences, and they're not all the time because we would get used to them and we would expect them, but that's part of that journey. One of my favorite things at the store is when someone new comes in who then they say, I'm new to this. And I know you've met them too at the front desk. I'm new to this. And it's like, I have the opportunity to show them some really cool things, to get excited with them. And I have the chills because it's just so beautiful to watch someone embark on their spiritual journey and to be a witness to it. But all of these experiences, we go more in depth. They don't stop. They continue to bless us throughout our journeys.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Tonight, we're going to be doing a reading for everybody. So if you want a card pull, Laurie chose the theme for tonight's card pull, so I'll let her explain it to you.
All right. So the card pull is, the theme is, what am I to look at, to learn about from this Mercury retrograde cycle in the time of Libra? So it might have something to do with relationships and balance. So let's see. So what does Mercury retrograde want me to know, to learn about, to acknowledge.
You know, Libra season is always that season that comes in to remind us that there's, you know, that it's not a solo journey. Even if we're single, it's not a solo journey. And I'm not talking about just only romantic partners, but partners with our children. We partner with our friends. We partner with our siblings. You know, it's the balance of that relationship that comes in. And sometimes relationships, unfortunately, hit snags, right? And so Mercury retrograde is one of those times where you can hit a snag in your relationship. Oh, Melissa says it's her sign. So Melissa's a Libra. And, you know, it's like I have lots of Libras around me, you know, and I notice that they can even get a little emotional during this time. You know, they can feel their feelings more at this time. Things are heightened, and that's without a Mercury retrograde. So, I mean, you know, now we have Mercury retrograde. Is Mars still retrograde too? Do we still have Mars in retrograde?
I think so. I do believe so.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. Do you know what's your rising?
I'm a Gemini rising.
Okay, because I'm a Libra rising, and I notice when things are coming up karmically for me, then I have a lot of Libras around me, right?
Oh,
I know
wow.
Libras, and then Aries, because they're opposite.
Wow.
People.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, we can start with that. I just wanted to make sure that um that we got through everything we wanted to get through.
We could probably talk for days, Joanna.
I know. It's so true. I mean, I'm like thinking of, you know, how much I used to enjoy when I worked on Sundays at the Mystical Moon in Bonita. And it was always fun when Laurie was at the front desk. I guess.
Yeah, Ethel and Lucy were in the house.
Ethel and Lucy. That's exactly it. So, what card deck are you using tonight?
I'm going with a True Blue Rider Waite tonight.
Oh, there you go. And you know, this ties in really, really nice because it is that tarot deck that we're connecting up with the Food Healing Oracle deck and the major arcanas. And you know, I've been really studying the history of Oracle, and it blows my mind. You know, now I always learn when I go to teach a class, and Lainey and I are putting this class together, and now I'm learning even more than I thought I knew all that I had to. But you know what? I'll never learn or know as much as because there's always so much more information.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a real student lately of the Rider Waite deck and all the different tarot decks that there is. So let's see. I don't want to miss anybody, and we have Joan, Tony, Denise, Kathy, Cheryl, Melissa, and Karen that wants cards. So Lainey and I sometimes will take turns down the list.
Okay.
So you want to start off with, I think it was Denise Flood that asked for the first.
It was maybe Joan.
Joan was the first one. Okay. Sorry.
So I'm going to pull a card for Joan.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to pull right from the top. Okay. So, Joan, I'm going to show you the card. Can you see it's the Six of Wands reversed? So what you're learning, Joan, is patience at this time. So try with all your might to not be too frustrated, and try not to give up, try not to throw in the towel. Do know there are still things that need to be in place. A lot of times those things are in the non-physical yet, right? So there might be an an epiphany, a decision that you need to make before things fall into place. I'm hearing continue on with business as usual. Try not to second guess yourself, okay? And I'm also hearing breathe a lot, because also this card too, we can hear a couple of things that are a little bit disappointing. I'm not saying the worst case scenario, but I've got a lot of wah-wah energy. Just try not to hold on to it. Release it. Say, oh, well, okay, and be patient. I feel like your intentions are falling into place. Just try not to get ahead of yourself, okay?
That was awesome. I changed my mind. I think what we should do is you'll pull a card from the Rider Waite, and I'll pull one for the same person with the Food Healing Oracle deck,
Awesome.
and we'll see what comes up. So, Joan, this is still for you. And I think that you did give her some clarity there, because I get the blueberry card for clarity. I know there's a little bit of a glare here. I'm going to change so that way you guys can see the blueberry card.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
So what with clarity is that you are learning what is time to move forward with and what time to not move forward with. And that's where that patience comes in for you to be able to say, I think I need to reassess. Mercury retrograde is all the words, right? Reassess, reevaluate, review, all of those. And I think that more clarity is coming. Mercury will go direct on election day, November 3rd. Oh my God, right? I mean, it's crazy. We won't talk about that. Next is Tony. You want to pull a card for Tony?
Sure, I'm gonna pull one for Tony. All right, Tony, you have the Ace of Wands reverse. So we've got some reverse cards popping up here. So I feel like this has to do with trusting your intuition a little bit more so. I feel like there's a little bit of an expectation of how it should look, and they're saying, for Pete's sakes, don't compare yourself with others, right? So sometimes we see how someone else does it, and we're like, oh man, your style, your intuition is continuing to amp up, fine tune. I feel like it's a little bit of a piggyback of Joan's reading, but to trust the process, and you don't need to tweak too many things right now. It's all beautiful. It's all coming together. And another thing that they're showing me is you might need a little bit more fire energy. So light a candle, maybe get some sunshine to help you. I don't know if you have been feeling tired and don't have enough stamina. Okay. Might need let's see. I'm curious to see what comes up with the food deck here for that.
Yeah. So this is for Tony. Oh, she gets olives for peace. Can you see it? Yeah, olives for peace, Tony. So like Laurie said, to know that everything is all good, to be at peace with what it is, and not try to to break through some of those things that are not ready to break through yet, and I say yet because there is some stuff happening, and you might have to wait until this Mercury retrograde is over, but you did get the peace card, so I think that's a really good omen.
I think
what's happening. Next, we have Denise Flood. We would like to get more insight into this.
Okay, so Denise, you have the 9 of Swords. So I'm hearing with the Rees to reestablish some boundaries. Feels like you're feeling a lot of what's going on with the people around you and in the collective. And they're showing me your auric field could use a little bit of extra repair, because there's just so much going on. And it feels like there's like a tear or two in that field, and you're feeling, and of course you care about people, but it's really it's hitting close to home is what I'm hearing. And I'm also hearing your sleep might be a little bit disturbed. So it's like I want to put some crystals around the bed, or maybe some amethyst under the mattress to help you bring a little bit more peace. And I do feel that you're doing a lot of work in the sleep time as well. And that's still what I'm getting is with the people that you're working with, the people that you're counseling and assisting, that some of them have a lot going on, and we've got to establish some more boundaries with that. And right, so we want to be there for people. We can create these boundaries and bless the interactions, and keep ourselves intact.
I love that. And your card, Denise, from the Food Healing Oracle deck is empowerment. Goes right along with what Laurie was saying, you know, those boundaries, being empowered in your own right, not leaking energy. I keep hearing that there is an energy leak somewhere with either someone or a situation. So becoming empowered and feeling your own strength before you leak it out to anybody else or anything else. I hope that helps.
Can I say one more thing about that?
Yeah.
That the things that people are going through are really deep, and I have never seen such chaos and like everything being shook up for so many people. So it takes a lot on healers and advisors and individuals, whether you're a healer or a reader or an everyday person, the people that we know are going through so much as well as we are. So it's like everything is amped up. So we need to amp up our personal protection and personal hygiene.
I think that is such good advice because it does feel amped up. The energy feels like, and it's not a smooth energy. It's kind of like fragmented energy too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So Kathy, she would like a card. So you want to pull one for Kathleen?
I sure will. She has the King of Swords. So this is most certainly a time for learning. Like I see you as the sponge, Kathy. It's like, I want to know the answer. So Mercury's saying, okay, she wants her intellect to be stimulated at this time. And I also feel that you may revisit a subject, a course, an area that you wanted to learn about before, and you maybe started on that journey and maybe you put it to the side. Now is the time to revisit it because you might have, it feels like you have more of the time, the energy, and the mental bandwidth to be able to do so. This is the time to really stimulate your mind because it's going to get you in trouble is what I'm hearing. You're going to get the job. It's like, I need something.
That's like, she is Aquarius. And so, you know, that mental is very, very, very busy for you, Kathy. Always will be the questioning, the wanting to know the answers. But the Food Healing Oracle deck, oh my God, we always do this. We always get one card that seems to come out the same for a few people. And she got clarity again. I mean, the clarity card came up again for Kathy as it did for, I think it was Joan, right? And Kathy, you are getting clarity about certain things. And like Laurie says, to get clarity about the path that you want to follow in terms of your own development. You know, I know she works unbelievable. She works with crystals. She does such amazing jewelry with crystals. So maybe it's branching off from crystals, continuing that, but adding something else to the mix might be really, really, really good.
Just one word popped up for her, geometries. I don't know if she has looked into sacred geometries with that, with jewelry.
Yeah, that might be something for you to look into, Kathy. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And now we're at Cheryl Friedman.
All right, Cheryl. Cheryl has the Knight of Wands. All right, so she's rallying the troops right now. It's like, and so your inspiration, your optimism it's contagious. So how does that relate to Mercury retrograde? Well, I think you're going to help people reignite their passions for their purpose. And so you're a coach? Is she coach? Yes.
She's everything. She wears a lot of hats. Hypnotherapist, past life regressionist. She's a counselor, master's in social work, or a psychiatrist. I'm sorry, Cheryl. I don't mean to butcher your career. She's got lots of credentials.
So I definitely see you as leading the pack, and it also feels like in a new direction for a lot of people. Keep seeing you as the Pied Piper. So I felt like there's something that's coming in, and I also am hearing again the revisiting of something that maybe you have been planning or working on before, but I just see you really inspiring others, which also inspires you. And they're showing me a book. So I don't know if you started writing a book. It's time to revisit that.
Oh, Cheryl. And the card from the Food Healing Oracle deck is pears. It's our grace card.
Aww.
Okay? So not only this card is coming in, and I'm feeling that give yourself some grace for all that you have accomplished. Allow yourself to feel that sense of spiritual connection that you're bringing in even more deeply into your work. And grace is a gift that comes from God, and I just really feel like you are being offered a lot of grace right now. So receive it. We can be offered grace, but just like anything else, we have to receive it, Cheryl.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that you're receiving that grace for yourself. Next in line is Melissa. We have lots of people want cards tonight.
We sure do. All right, Melissa, you have the 9 of Pentacles.
Wow.
And the really cool thing about the 9s is that usually the individual is by themselves. And this is about personal achievement and accomplishment. So Spirit wants you to review all that you have overcome. And I feel like this is from the last 7 months. So wherever from now, we'll go back about 7 months, you have accomplished so much, you have overcome so much, and you have set into motion so many new wonderful things, and you deserve to pat yourself on the back, and you deserve to treat yourself. They're encouraging you to treat yourself to that something that you've had your eye on, but you probably are saying, I don't know if I should do this, or this is your green light, because I think the reward system is really important too. If we work so hard, if we put our blood, sweat, and tears into things, and there's no pause and celebration around it, then what's the point? It's all work. We become grumpy and so on and so forth. You deserve to treat yourself. Even if it feels like it's a little bit frivolous and you're like, I don't think I should do it. I feel like you should.
There you go. And the Food Healing Oracle deck card is, I can't seem to be the camera, is Vitality. You can't really see the word, but it's celery. It's our Vitality card. And again, you've earned this time. I mean, I really feel like you're coming into a time of renewed vitality, a renewed sense of purpose. But before you go too much further, like, Laurie said, take some self-care, give yourself a little treat or a big treat, but do something that makes you feel really, really good. Love yourself up. I know Melissa just lost one of her fur babies, so she might need some extra TLC. And sometimes it's good to give yourself that TLC so you can bring back that vitality again, right?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's always hard. You've been through it, so
absolutely.
And Karen Pavella would like a card.
Okay, so Karen, you have the Justice card reversed. Okay, so Karen, you may be observing and witnessing things that are so out of balance, it may be making you nuts. That's what it feels. You're like, I got to do something. And Spirit is encouraging you to hold off and know there is divine order and there's always accountability for every action. So even if you're seeing things, and of course you'll use your own discernment, because some things we do have to speak up when there's a huge injustice, be like, I got to take care of this right now. But I feel like there are like little gnats nagging at you like, oh, that's not okay. I hope Spirit saw that. Oh my gosh. It's important for you to just take a deep breath and just try to not get involved, because I feel like also it might be that some people are trying to pull you into it because they need someone on their side. Just be mindful. You don't need to be pulled into every triangle. Okay, so do know there's accountability for every action. There's a reaction and accountability.
That's really good advice there for Karen. And she got the onions card for acceptance. So that goes hand in hand with what Laurie's card was, accept where you are. Don't get pulled into where somebody else is, no matter how emphatic they may be, you know yourself, right? You know yourself and you know what you're here to do, and just keep on track with that, and accepting the fact that not everybody is on the same page as you, right? They're just not. So we have Deborah McIver. Hi, Deborah. I don't think we've ever met, but it's good that you are here with us tonight.
Alrighty, Deborah, you've got the Knight of Pentacles. So the advice from Spirit is to tend to your garden. You've planted some seeds. Those seeds may need extra TLC. So during this time, I would say for the next, I feel like it's even the next month, try to see what needs to be watered. See if there are weeds that are kind of popping up, like chaos, or the negativity or doubt with your intentions and what you're trying to create in your life. I also get for you to stay home a little bit more so. Just to, I know a lot of people are staying home more these days, but it feels like you might even, I don't know how I'm going into this, but I am, but to be more of the hermit, to stay home, hunker down, hang out at home, create more of a sanctuary in your home. I don't know if you've been reorganizing things at home, some feng shui. That's where Spirit is encouraging you to be here, at least for the next month. I see you moving furniture around and on saging and maybe even splashing some paint up.
Wow, that's awesome. And she gets the coffee card for energy. And this tells me that she needs to bring in her energy, just as what you were saying. Bring it in, bring it home to yourself, your home, whatever is looking to capture it. It feels like that there's been some people may be pulling at your energy, and this is a time to bring it all home to yourself, right? And coffee also is the secondary meaning to that is grounding. Coffee grounds. So allow yourself to ground into your own space and into your own self. And I think that is going to serve you really, really well.
And that coffee is also telling me to reset your energy at home, right? So reset, because I'm seeing like martial arts, how you go back to position one, and the coffee is reminding me to regain and recoup all your energy back at home. Does that make sense in a way? Kind of ground it in that way.
Awesome. It makes sense to me.
Hopefully it does to Deborah. Okay, so it looks like Anna's next.
Anna's next.
You've got the card. I think I had this card of the day on my card of the day. If I didn't have it today, I had it yesterday. So it's the Six of Swords. So Anna, where there has been a lot of mental stress and anxiety, it looks like for now there are some smooth seas ahead. And sometimes when it's calm, we find ourselves used to the chaos, and we actually instigate with our thoughts and allow fears and anxieties to come in. So we're saying you shouldn't have that right now. So it should be more of a peaceful times moving forward for you for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and in the Food Healing Oracle deck, she gets our shadow card. So there may be some of those thoughts and some of that's coming up, and that you can't see the forest for the trees. So just take some time and just, as Laurie says, take the time to bring it into a different state, like bring yourself into a different state right now, and know that everything is going to be okay as you move into this different state of being. And I always say the best way to change our state is gratitude. Thank you for everything. And I know Anna, and I know how grateful she is. So maybe just start saying those thank yous out loud to everything that comes into your path.
Beautiful. All right. So it looks like we have Patricia. Hi, Patty. All right, Patty. You have the Nine of Wands reversed. So right away, Spirit tells me that she wants to make sure she's prepared for everything. She wants to be that Girl Scout. And when there are some surprises, it's like, gosh, I should have seen that coming. So do know they're saying maybe there's a lot of extra time that's being spent trying to troubleshoot, and you're getting too far ahead of yourself. And Spirit's wanting you to be more in the present moment. I know I like to try to prepare as well, but then sometimes I'm missing out on what's happening in the here and now because I'm focused so much into the future. All right. And they're also showing me that you're wanting to prevent from being disappointed or something happening from the past. Spirit's encouraging you to take that thought and pluck it out of your head and bless it. And even like, you don't need those thoughts. And to say to yourself, this is not a productive thought at this time. I bless you, off you go.
There you go. And from the Food Healing Oracle deck, you get freedom. And that's another card that is telling you to just allow your thoughts to go into this place that you don't pick at them. Let them flow. Have some freedom from those limiting thoughts and gain some real power within yourself, right? I feel like that this is a time that you can really, really bring some things to bear that you've been wanting to bring to bear as well. So work on that and know that you do have as much individual freedom as you allow yourself to have. Sometimes we feel like caged in and limited, and that too is just a thought that needs to be plucked out, blessed, and put off to the side. So and Sandy is next. I think we just have a couple of more. Oh my goodness, we have more than a couple more. Okay.
So we have next was yeah, there's a few.
So
I just got lost in the feed. Hold on.
Yeah, Sandy.
Sorry, Sandy. So Sandy has the 8 of Pentacles, and this is the Apprentice card. So if you haven't sought out a mentor or someone, I'm going to encourage you to do so. And this could be in any area. It could be in psychic development. It could be in card readings. It could be in pet readings. It could be to be a cobbler. Whatever, whatever is really on the forefront of your passions and what you're really good at, I'm going to encourage you, or Spirit is encouraging you, to seek out someone who you can learn a little bit from. Fine tune that. And practice. So whatever it is that you've been, it could even be an instrument too. I see a lot of things that you do, Sandy. So they're saying pick one and develop it for joy, for pleasure, for peace.
And she gets the abundance card, our apples card of abundance, because there is an abundance of things that you can do. However, it's like, pick one lane. You're a Libra, and so there's always so much that you can't decide whether to do this or do that. Pick the thing that gives you the most excitement, and that ignites your own passion, and go for that. So we have time for maybe one more, and then we have to close. Who's next on our list?
So the next person would be, and I see Joan's comments and Tony's comments. And
Joan says, perfect. Yes, I'm clearing out my boat and storage unit as we speak, so as to be free to make my next move. And Tony says, LOL, that is so right on. I know I think too much and I'm very impatient. And there's other comments here. And I'm like, I love all you guys. And I'm feeling such a good energy. But we're going to do one more. And then we're going to have to say goodnight to Laurie. And Laurie, I'm hoping that when Lainey gets back, maybe sometime next year, you'll come back on again so that you can be with both of us and we'll talk about even more stuff.
We can talk about anything. Absolutely. And I know
really
on so many things too. Okay. So, I think Susan was the next, correct? Okay. Susan this is a great way of ending it. The Star. the star. So I'm going to take this much, and this is the cool thing, and I know we're wrapping it up. So with whatever deck you use, whatever intuitive tool you use, it's a marker, and it's going to take you into this really cool direction. So I'm hearing for you, Susan, to not be afraid of being in the limelight, to not shy away from having the attention on you in the spotlight. And it looks like it's in a good way, though. It's not like people like, oh my God, there's Susan. No, it's look at Susan. And I feel that there are compliments, and I feel like your ego is in a healthy way being stroked, and you're being put a little bit on that pedestal and acknowledged. So embrace it and say thank you.
I love that. And she gets the Artichoke for Forgiveness card from the Food Healing Oracle deck. And let me tell you, sometimes we have to take a little check-in to see if we have unblocked all those areas that are blocked because of unforgiveness for ourselves or somebody else. And I'm really feeling like there's just one little thing that's nagging at you right now that you need to do so you can move forward in that wonderful way. And I'm sorry for the rest of you, that Ashley, Vanessa, that we didn't get to you this time. I love you guys, but we're at the end of our time. Before we go, I want to extend just a little bit because I want to see if you have any announcements, Laurie, before we go, and I'm going to make some announcements as well.
So if you have not already joined my Astral Lounge on Facebook, it's Laurie Barraco's Astral Lounge. I invite you to do so. So it's a lovely community that I was guided by Spirit to start during the whole lockdown COVID, because the Mystical Moon doors were closed. And I know people were calling, we were still doing things behind the scenes with phone calls and readings and so on and so forth. But people missed community. So I started this free group. Right, so it's for community, and it's Laurie Barraco's Astral Lounge. So a lot of people have gotten to know each other. I stream weekly, and I invite you to go visit me there. And then next year in January, I will be starting a tarot course as well online. So you can always go to my website, lauriebarraco.com, and sign up for my newsletter, and all of the info will be sent there.
Oh, thank you so much, Laurie. And before I forget, please go and sign up for the Tarot Food Healing Oracle deck Major Arcana class that will be happening Sunday at 1 o'clock. And if you sign up tonight, by midnight, you'll be entered into a drawing to win a chakra tote and a full deck of the Food Healing Oracle deck and book.
Yeah.
And remember our app. You can take our card deck anywhere. Just download the app from Indigo's Oracle, and you have the card deck with you everywhere you go. And November, we're having a class with Cheryl Freeman, who was on here tonight that you just read for, and she's doing Conquering Your Cravings. What a great class to have before the holidays. And then in December, Denise Flood, who was also on here, is doing an essential oils class. And of course, we're continuing our certification classes in January. We're halfway filled. So if you have any interest in that, please sign up for that. And just go to the foodhealingdeck.com and you'll see all the things that are going on. Sign up for our newsletter, because that is where you get all the latest and greatest information. Laurie, thank you so very, very much. Stay on when I end the broadcast. And I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Wishing Lainey a safe travel home. I miss you, Lainey.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Joanna.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.